show is your life, and I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And wow, just like always, we got another extraordinary show coming your way. We're going to talk about the things that kind of distract us from reaching our goals, from attaining our objectives, and sometimes things that distract us from becoming the person that God made us to be because we so busy sometimes we are irritated or we go in different direction based on the way the wind is blowing. And so we're going to talk about the law of distraction today. And I got an absolutely wonderful guest that's going to join us real soon to talk about these things. And I am looking forward to it. But before I do anything, I got to always bring my absolutely fantastic, sensational executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Denise Cooley. How are you doing today?
Hi, great. This is a great topic to discuss because, as far as distractions go, there are so many every single day. You could be distracted by you can have a conversation. You can be distracted by noise. We can be distracted by something that pops up on our phone. There's so many distractions. It's just too many to name. But you're right. We have an amazing guest who will kind of talk about it and how distractions can maybe not benefit you in certain ways. So we're really excited about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, distractions sometimes in God's word and God's plan. If you're too distracted, you can't attain your purpose and you can't complete the plan that God has for you. So, I am serious about uh, all these things we're going to talk about today. So, wherever you're watching the show at, whether you're watching on TV, 360 TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, streaming, over 25 plus live streaming network, you can be part of the conversation just by going to the comments, asking any question you like, and I promise you, I get it on the screen. Michelle, can we get started with this? Can you please introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and also introduce this great guest that's on the show?
Yes, title of the show is called The Law of Distractions, and we're getting to know Derrick Williams. He's a master barber, cosmetologist, and the podcast host of Dwill's Behind the Chair, C&E. And we're going to talk about how America is distracted all the time, our focus off what God's purpose is in our life, how the voices of others, families, friends, social media, and etc., and how that distracts us and takes our minds away from what we're ordained to do, and talk about a couple of ways we can get away from these distractions. But let me introduce our guest first. Derrick Williams. He was born in Compton, California, and raised in Carson. He's a graduate from Compton Senior High and studied communications at LA Harbor. He is a licensed cosmetologist and master barber for over 30 years and currently is working in Temecula at the Barber Palace. Derrick loves sharing his experiences with the youth and young adults. He enjoys singing at local open mic and acting in plays. And we're going to learn so much more about this guest today. So please join us. It's Your Life with Dr. James Cooley. Welcome Derrick Williams to the show.
How you doing? How you doing, my friend? How you doing today?
Good afternoon to the both of you. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on your show. It's a wonderful opportunity and a pleasure to sit down and just talk with you both today.
We're looking forward to it, man, because you and I think about a week and a half ago, when I was in California, we sit back, had some major discussions that I think our audience and others need to get an understanding of some of these discussions because they probably need to be having the same discussion. So first of all, can you tell our viewers and our listeners and just tell them about your passions, some of your passions?
Well, you kind of went out for a minute, Doctor, but you said tell about. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Let me repeat that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
I said, can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about you, where you grew up, or you was born, grew up, and just tell them a little bit about what makes you you.
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up. I was born in Compton on Alondra and Central, and my parents two-parent family, married 50 years. They moved us, me and my brother and sister. We moved over to Carson, California, uh, which was be over the 91 freeway at this point. At that time, there was no 91 freeway. There was no anything. We moved into a nice track home in the city of Carson called Stevenson Village, and from that point, of course, life began for me. My parents, dad was a hard worker. My mother pretty much was uh, primarily a housewife, but she was a strong woman and she worked and did things on the side just to keep herself busy. But what they did was instill in us, to try to be as responsible and accountable as much as we possibly can and be transparent enough to accept some of the things that comes our way to build character in our lives. So that's it in a nutshell for me, just treating people the way I would like to be treated, of course, but being a neighbor and loving. Yeah.
Wow. So you said mom and dad instill a lot of these foundations that you live by today.
Yes.
What is the most important thing that you live by every day that you learn from your mom and dad and others? And who is your role model? Do you have any role models that you followed, or still follow today that always bring happiness and joy to you?
To be honest with you, I would say that my role model would have to be my father. You know, my father was a hardworking man. He was a man that believed in taking care of business, a no nonsense type cat. Not easy to understand at times because he was very serious, but it was not so much. The thing is, the things that he done laid the foundation. He always took care of us, made sure everything was right for us. Never any really crucial issues with my mom. So they had a really cool marriage. I mean, people had problems and stuff like that, but his foundation had always trumped, some of the things I've seen in other people. Now I've seen, entertainers and actors, and I mean, I can name a few. I can name Denzel Washington, Forrest Whitaker is a cat I grew up with and I really admire. We have some constituents that I'm impressed with that I've listened to and followed for quite some time. But at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than what I've got from my father and him just laying the foundation. Be true to who you are. Man up right, man up wrong, but man up.
Wow, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And so D. Will, who inspired you to be the cosmetologist and barber, great barber, by the way, that you are?
You know what? That's
Uh,
um,
that's
probably Doc at first. Coming up playing sports and things of that nature, not being one of the best athletes on the field, I had to recognize what am I good in and why am I out here wasting time to be on the field if I'm not top of the line as an athlete. And so one of the things was I recognized is that I was good with my hands and I had good hand and eye coordination. So with that being said, and me always being a person that was into style and dressing and stuff like that, I thought I would give cosmetology and barbering a shot. And when I seen that I was pretty decent at it, I had entered a competition at the sports arena when I first got into the field in the Black Gold Hair Show, and I won the barber competition, and I was on the Black Gold styling team. Of course, it kind of catapulted me into continuing to stay into the field.
Wow. So what mostly um, about your profession that you love and why?
It's a trip because, of course, and I tell the new jacks that come in now because the barber come in and he might take 1, 2, 3 hours on a haircut, just trying to make it absolutely look perfect. And because there is nothing perfect about us, we can be efficient and we can be effective, but there's nothing perfect about us. So then you have to acquire and be more equipped to build your speed and understand the methods and the tools and guidelines that get you to become efficient enough and able to make money. But what I found in barbering is that I had the opportunity to really be effective in hearing more instead of talking more, being able to hear some of the people's situations that may go on in their family, that may go on their jobs, personal situations, physical ailments, and things of that nature. And then me having the level of compassion to be able to comment. And, one of the things that I had to pick up, coming up was sometimes not only do you have to listen, you have to be compassionate enough to talk to people and not at people. And sometimes I think we find ourselves, if we're not careful, we'll always say, you need to get this done. You need to do that, instead of, maybe just saying something to the effect of, I would suggest, or it would be more to your benefit if you would do this or do that. So it has helped me in a lot of ways, navigate young men out of situations that they probably want to take themselves in. It's navigated me into being able to help men in their marriages sometimes, coming in with a negative attitude and not stepping out themselves and seeing what the wife might be seeing about them. Because sometimes all we see is ourselves, and we don't step outside ourselves to see what the other person is seeing in us. So it's been very helpful, and I talk to so many people, doctor. I mean, from homeless to gangbanging to an attorney to a politician to a law enforcement officer to a nurse. You name it. They probably have sat in my chair.
Wow. Like what you just said about, you have to encourage people. And in the barbershop, that's where a lot of conversations, well, it used to be, watching on television, used to take place. And is it still the same way today? A lot of conversations take place at the barbershop.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, you can't even imagine some of the things that are said at the barbershop, and it's all in love. And I think sometimes we get it twisted because, it's my job, doctor, but it's the barbershop. So it's a country club for men. When they get into the barbershop, they probably can't even say and do some of the things that they may do on their job or do at home. But when they come in the shop, sometimes they be over the top. And I'll be like saying, sometimes I have to try to tone it down, and I may make a statement like, I'm gonna come to your job tomorrow and I'm gonna act up at your job. This is my job first. Even though we may have some conversations where they may get out of hand and stuff like that. And of course, we talk about athletes and we talk about people's frailties, because most of the time that's where what's fed to us all the time. What's fed to us is we're going to see somebody that has run into a problem. We're going to see the high on them, and then the low is going to be paramount. So then
Wow.
we'll in and we'll
Hold that thought, D. We have to take a station break. But if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to whatever site was you watching on television, was you watching it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Just go in and put comments in and ask this great man any questions. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll see you shortly after this.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. I know that
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phrases and stages. These experiences teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to It's Your Life with James Cooley. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get you equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
It's your life.
Welcome back to It's Your Life, and got my fantastic guest here. I call him Dwill, Derrick Williams, and just really enjoy chatting with this young man, and have had several opportunities to chat with him over the phone. But finally, last week, I had an opportunity to meet him in person, and I tell you, I did not know. I mean, other than him seeing me on my show or television or something like that, I never seen him. And I went to the gym this day, and this young man walked up to me and said, "Dr. Cooley." I'm like, okay. He said, you know me, but you don't know me. He said, but I know you. And then the divorce came immediately. My point is, God always brings people into your life, even if you just chatting with them on the phone every now and then. And he makes things happen in person. And that's what the attraction in the law of attraction is, when God brings the right people. The law of distraction is when you just start doing things on your own, and you think you know everything. And sometimes you find out that you don't know as much as you know, because you're not given an opportunity to follow his plan. So wherever you're at, if you want to talk about this topic with us, or just go to the comments and ask this great man any question you like, and we'll get you an answer. Hey, Dwill, now. So with that being said, the title of the show is The Law of Distraction. Can you tell our viewers and listeners why you came up with that title and why it's so important?
Well, you just indicated something. What attraction did you just speak on before? You said the law of what?
I said the law of attraction, me bringing in the law of distraction.
There we go.
Pulling.
There we go.
Yeah.
Talked about the law of attraction, and the law of attraction is so important for us. We have to know the importance of attraction, but secondly, they don't talk about distraction being a law. They talk about the power of distraction. I mean, but they don't actually really, we have to understand, here in this country, it appears to be lawful because it's constantly perpetuated. I mean, we know that distraction is not new to us today. We know that. But the changes in our society today, doctor, we have to recognize the importance more of the dangers of distraction, the text messaging, the social media, and the Twitter. And that's not all negative. There are some very positive sides of that. But what it does is, it was a time where you would have to consult your kids because they're dealing with peer pressure. But we're at a point now where parent pressure is just about as more pressure than peer pressure. So our parenting is, we can find ourselves more in our phones looking at social media and text messaging and stuff like that, more than we actually take the time to really be family orientated and do what it is that's necessary, to shape and mold our children as God shapes and molds us. The scripture says he's the powder and we are the clay. And if we're not taking time to shape and mold our children as God is shaping and molding us, then there's something that has to distract us from being the best person, the best male, the best female, or live the best attraction that we possibly can live. So I'm just, indicating that today with all the distractions that we see on TV, off TV, even when you're trying to pay a bill, let's look at it, doctor. You can't even talk to somebody on the phone anymore just about a situation or a matter. You got to go through so many chains before you can actually hear a human voice to be able to take care of a situation that may be very important. And sometimes that builds anxiety attacks. People be on the phone hours trying to get things done. It just used to didn't be like that. I mean, times are changing tremendously, and it doesn't appear that it's changing for the good. I mean, it's changing for the good in the sense of finances, but outside of that, we have some big challenges today.
Wow. Do you believe that so many distractions in the world, so many distractions all over the place? Do you believe that many of us, many Americans, many we don't understand distraction because we don't give it enough time to think about what's right and what's wrong? What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that. I believe we don't at this point because everything is so on the go. People are moving so fast. Traffic wise, you're driving on the street, people looking in their phones. They're not paying attention to traffic. There's just so many levels of distraction that yes, I believe that we're not paying attention to distraction. And then when you really look at it, is nothing spoken about the presence of God. See, there's a presence in all of us. But if you're looking at negative presence most of the time, or there's the presence that is distracting to entertain you, because we're in an entertaining country. So entertainment is at the plight of why we don't take the time to really look at some things that can actually ground us and build us. I mean, we know that the word will build you right off the top. Mark 4:4 says, "Man shall not live by the bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out the mouth of God." But if you're not meditating in the word, looking at the word of God, and this is all you look at all the time, this is the only thing that you pay attention to when you looking at TikTok and all this foolishness, then this is what you're gonna have. We're not going to. I can go on and on. It's just like we old now, but we're too old to be clubbing and doing some things. But it's good to go out with your wife and have, a nice dinner and and listen to some entertainment and stuff like that. But when that becomes prioritized, you're not getting your rest. You're not doing the things that you need to do. You're not reaching out to people, like you're saying, helping them build dreams, thinking big and being big. We're missing the mark. We're missing the mark, guys.
Many of us, we listen to our family, friends, and they are normally what we go by because we're followers when it in whatever way the wind blowing. Do you believe that family and friends, um, I would say family and friends are influence over the way that you think about things because most people only care about what other people think about them, whether they are happy with them or whether they're doing all of these other type of things. Do you think it's bad to always just lock into what the family and your friends say opposed
Absolutely
to
not.
come to the right decision?
Absolutely not. I think that you know, when families are talking to you about, it's like a good coach, or it's like somebody with the level of authority that motivates you, and they're edifying your spirit. If you have family members and friends that are humorously joking, like they're just playing about some of the things that they're talking about, but it's nothing to edify your spirit, absolutely not. You have to be able to really block out those voices, because those voices that appear to be like your friend, chummy chummy, laughing with you, oh, we family, cuz, oh, we family, brother-in-law, uncle, this, that, and the other, we're going to do this, and nothing is positive. No, no, no. It's not always a good situation, and sometimes we got to recognize that we can't become an example. We have to set examples. Yeah. And sometimes we become examples by listening to all the rhetoric that someone may say or do, and then that's when we get steered and get to following, the wrong things because we may feel that our life is boring at times. But patience comes with patience. There's going to be some subtle times where God is able to get you into a position where people will actually listen and people will actually follow, and you'll be able to minister to people in love. See, the thing is, we are not ministering enough in love to people. We'll say in a minute now, we can't say anything to anybody. You can't say things to your children no more. You can't say things to nobody no more because they ain't going to listen. Well, no, God gave us a mouth to speak so people would listen. So why would we take the time not to use the instrument that God has given us?
And you're right about that. And I believe that we must, and we have, I believe that we have to think about. I'm trying to really give it some thought on before we make quick decisions based on our feelings and also based on what we want others to think about us. I think we have to be genuine. It has to be authentic, and it have to be thought out on anything that we do, especially when we're making decisions that's going to affect us personally, us, our family, and the things that we do. So that's what I believe.
I agree. I am totally with you on that. And a lot of times we don't do that. Sometimes, we just try to, and the thing about worrying about what people think and trying to impress people, nobody's exempt for, wanting attention. I mean, all of God's children want attention, but it's just what type of attention are we trying to attract, especially as we get older? What type of attention are we really trying to attract? Who are we trying to impress?
I'd say if you do what you're supposed to do and you follow in God's plan and you think things out, you don't have to impress anybody.
Absolutely.
You don't have to impress anybody. And we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to pick it up from here, and we're going to continue to have this great discussion with Dwill. If you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the comments. Ask this great man any questions. I promise I'll get on the screen. It's your life. I'll be back shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm here with my fantastic guest, uh, Derrick Williams. And what we're talking about is, and as I put it, we have to understand the law of attraction in order to clearly understand the law of distraction. And distractions are things most of the time is because I believe that we're not thinking properly, we short tempered, and we want to do things in a hurry. And, and many times we do those things, we make the wrong decision, and we're distracted easily. And we never complete whatever job that we're doing because we're totally distracted by other things. And just like what Will and I was talking prior to the break, um, also sometimes we worry about what other people are going to think about us or feel about us. Um, I think every man and woman have to stand up for themselves. And, everybody not going to like what you do or what you say or however you do things. But be true to yourself. If you start a job, if you start anything, try to stay focused. Focus is key in order to complete those whatever you started. So if you want to be part of this, just comment. Let's get to this great man. He's a man of wisdom, a man of God. And you're back, Will. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks again. Thank you for having me on your show. And it's like I said, it's interesting because, you say it best. If it's not attractive, don't tap in. It's like if a young man or young brother comes up to you and said, "Man, I need you to ride over here." So something has happened that might be dreadful or uncomfortable. Get the story first. Don't just get in the car and go. Know the reason why you're going over there because it can be very attractive to be brought into a situation that's going to compromise, your life and who you are. And this is some of the things that we just quickly jump to do. We don't always, one of the things my father used to say to me is, when somebody's trying to take you somewhere, get the story, find out what's going on before you actually jump into the car and and find yourself being in the drive-by, or they going to the gas station acting like they're going to get some gas and they robbing the store. These are the things sometimes that could be a part of some of the things that we're distracted by in our youth as we're coming up. The same in college. You can be in college. You can be with some bad actors that's in college, and they'll take you into an atmosphere that could, turn your life completely around. So it's very important that you communicate and always want to know what the storyline is. What's the backstory before you walk into a situation and get caught up.
Do you believe that many people want to want things to distract them because they don't know how to fulfill whatever they're working on, and they always want to have an excuse. The reason I couldn't do this is because that person kept doing this or that doing that, uh, opposed to just sit back, trying to figure out or ask others questions. I mean, reaching out for help and saying, really trying to get some ideas on how I can do this, or just in pride, just I do it myself. I don't need nobody else. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, pride. I almost called you past. Pride. Pride is the number one killer, doctor. And sometimes pride could be a little passive. Even though we may operate with a passive aggressive personality, under that underline could be an abundance of pride. And that abundance of pride is the stronghold that keeps us from being able to accomplish whatever it is that, is set out for us to accomplish. So, yeah, there are people that, take pride on being distracted rather than being able to do some of the things that they're called out to do. And of course, we all know what that is. That's fear, but if we're not, if we haven't got some type of format on what those So indications are we will never see it for what it is. We'll never see pride. Pride is a big part of fear. We just don't want to tap into what it is that we're really supposed to do. So we puff up, whether we puff up directly or indirectly.
So you kind of, and you're right, I believe. Fear, the fear of failure,
Yes.
the fear of not being able to. I mean, most of the time it's not self fear for you, because I believe that a person knows what their capabilities are. I believe that they know when something is over their head and when something is not. But they also know that if it's always a solution out there to whatever that is, you just have to dig deep and do research and go out and ask questions, collaborate. I believe it's a lot of different ways that we can come up with ideas in order to complete whatever we are, and try to keep from self-pity distractions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you believe that distraction is sometimes a coping mechanism? I'm talking about poor old me, pity me. Just that's just how they go. People go about. Some people go about making themselves feel better by the mechanism of coping and just being distracted. Every little thing, that's what they want to run to, just to keep their mind off whatever thing that they are working on. What's
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yeah. That sometimes can be prevalent in our community, because some of us never get beyond where we're from. So when we get beyond where we're from, yeah, we will sometimes try to cop out and have pity parties and things of that nature. It's important that you're able to detect that, you're able to discern that, because sometimes you can actually, you can get caught in relationships like that. You can be caught on the work field like that. You have to be able to detect that, and it's very big. It's bigger than we think most times, because that's how I think this country is ran. This country is ran off the weakness of us not believing what it is that we can and cannot do. It's easy. I was telling a client the other day, you know, because there's so much visuals and there's so much, let's say, figureheads, where I call entertainers and people of wealth figureheads. So, like LeBron James being a billionaire right now, you don't even hear us talk about him. Now people are talking about becoming a billionaire. I mean, they hear somebody's making a billion, now they're talking about making a billion. I haven't even gotten to, being a thousandaire, but now I'm trying to become a billionaire. So I'm just saying, those levels of distractions is what keep the weak weak. We stay weak because we begin to start admiring people that have so much. They become our figureheads. We idolize that instead of trying to find out what steps, like you said, we could take. Who can we consult? How can we make our situation better and move forward in what it is that we're trying to do, or what it is that God may have us do? That's the whole shape and mold of this country to me.
Well, you mentioned something, and this is one of the things I talk about when I'm teaching and on stage, um, is many of us get caught up in other people's wealth or what they got.
Yes.
We sit back, oh, LeBron James got he, almost $1 billion. This person got this, and that person got that. This person got that. Oh, my friend over here got all this money. You know what they will? I tell people, if you get caught up and counting other people's money,
Yes, sir.
get caught up in counting other people's money, you don't have time to make no money.
No, you
I mean,
don't.
because you too
Don't.
you too caught up in what this person got and what that person got. My question to them is, okay, what do you have? I mean, why are you counting these other people money, why don't you do something constructed? Go out and make your own money legally, and so you don't have to sit back and worry about what everybody else got. I mean, I'm the type B will. I just can't be counting nobody else's money. I mean, they said they got this and they got that. I can't do it, bro.
One of the things that has sustained me in this field, is, you can't tell a person that works hard for their money how to spend it. So if a client comes to me today and go to a coworker tomorrow, I can't be mad at that. He works hard for his money. He or she should be able to spend their money the way they want to. And when you worry about other people's money, doctor, it's unattractive. That is unattractive. Certain things are just downright unattractive. And anything that is completely unattractive, it is a distraction. It is nothing attractive about me wanting to know how much Lamar Jackson. I want to be paid what Deshaun Watson is being paid. Why are you worried about Deshaun Watson? Why are you worried about his money? Worried about the legacy that you can build for you and your family. You got more money than you ever could spend. That's just an example of what we're talking about right now. He's at a standstill, one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, at a standstill, because he made the statement, I need to be paid what this other guy's being paid. I don't, hey, you know your wealth, even though you feel like you need to be paid more than him. Let your the path be directed by God, and not just right now you're stuck.
I kind of agree with you a little bit on what you just said about Deshaun Watson and Baltimore Colts quarterback. But I believe what he's trying to say is he knows that he's one of the best, might be the best.
He is.
In the league. And I don't think it's a matter of money per se, because he knows he's going to get whatever he wants. But it's a matter of, this is my opinion, that you're not going to leave me out. I mean, I don't think it's the money. He got, like you said, but he wants to be in that top tier, just like Patrick Mahomes. And I don't even know how Deshaun Watson got there, but hey, man, I pray. I mean, he's there, but I understand. I just don't get that one. But I tell you, we take a station break, and man, this is interesting, and we're gonna come back, and now you got me thinking football, but I'm not gonna be distracted.
How about that?
Sure. So we're gonna come back and talk more about distractions. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to wherever you're watching that, ask a question, and I get it. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cool. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Fight against. And if you want my opinion, I let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and it's like I said, my great guest here. Really enjoying this discussion, this interview, and talking about the law of distraction. And I think D. Will and I kind of did that toward the end, so you see that it's sometimes you can get distracted, but that was on purpose that we we did on other people's stuff or other people things. When the main thing is we need to stay focused on what we are doing, and we need to. I mean, my one of my favorite saying, D. Will, is if you're gonna do it, you got to do it big, or you don't do it at all. Do it big. Do it big or don't do it. If you're not gonna do it big, don't do it at all. Don't have to. You know, so wow, we got a lot, man. D. Will, tell me about your show, man. Tell me about your podcast.
Man, you know, I haven't spoken too much on the podcast. I've been really in hiatus on that. It's a good thing that I'm on here today. It just tells me how much needed it actually is. So the podcast in the beginning, I started off with a guy, and we started out in the garage down in Carson, and at that time it was D. Will Keep It Real Podcast Radio, and we had some differences, of course. We didn't see some things, and we weren't going in the same direction, so we parted ways. And then shortly after that, I moved out here, and I've been tapping with it a little bit, but I changed the name to Behind the Chair C&E, but what it actually means is Behind the Chair Cuts and Entertainment. So the podcast will consist of, you know, having guests on the show like you're having me on the show, and bringing up topics that, you know, can be edifying and that would bring some benefit and some value to people in their lives. And all this conversation or level of wisdom that I'm able to convey is basically just from getting wisdom from God and adding, you know, making it pliable to others, and receiving others people's wisdom, and it becoming pliable to me. So I really, really thank you for today, for just, you know, like catapulting. Let's get it back going. It's something I need to do really soon, and I thank you for that. And like you say, if you're going to do it, let's do it big. So I appreciate
Do it big, and I want to give a couple shout outs. How you doing out there, Ray Leonard Jr., my main man? How you doing? Marlon Cooley, how you doing? How you doing? My son, I think that's D'Angelo, checking us out. We got a lot of people around the world that's checking us out. I see freelance, a lot of great folk that tune in on a regular basis. And, you know, just like you guys are watching, as D will talk about the law of distraction, many times, D, I think people are distracted with social media, internet, all of these different type of things, and they kind of let that guides their life. So do you think social media and internet plays a major role in keeping people distracted?
Yeah, one second, Doctor. I'm trying. Looks like my computer's going low. So
That's okay. But I believe that a lot of other things, and especially with our kids, and I mean grown-ups as well, we get caught up in social media. We get caught up on Twitter. We get caught up on all of these things, and we don't have time to focus on what's real. Because social media has a major influence on our lives. You know, so I think that we probably need to focus on that a little bit. What are your thoughts, D. Will?
I think we should definitely take breaks from social media. I mean, you know, I used to have issues with people that turn their phone off, but you have to turn your phone off because it's been that has said that social media is addictive as almost a drug, almost using the drug cocaine. I mean, you'll find people that are so non-tentative to what they're doing because they're locked in their phones. They'll walk through a traffic light, without even looking to see if a car could possibly not be paying attention and run and hit them. So I think you have to be able to, take a break from social media, set your mind on things above. There are good meditations as well as bad meditations. You can meditate. Meditation is very good. Exercise is very good. Walking and into natural things like walking in the mountains, walking along the side of the beach. Playing with your children if you have children and things of that nature. But anything to keep you from being deterred, because I told you, Doctor, there are 4 voices that we hear in our minds every day. And, I asked you what that was in the gym, but I'll say it real quick because we're short on time. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. No, we got 2 minutes, but yes, let's get those. I think that's important.
The voice of God,
mm-hmm.
the voice of the enemy, your own mm-hmm. voice, and the voice of others. Now, how I think you can actually have an handle or be able to kind of understand with that is first you got to have a faith system. You got to have a faith system. You got to have God as the head of your life, believing in God, meditating on God. It talks about having something as small as a mustard seed. I believe that's in Matthew 17:20. Just having the faith as small as a mustard seed, but that's how settled the adversary is. The adversary starts off small and then things blow up big. So you got to have a faith system. Secondly, what goes along with the faith system when you're dealing with the devil, you got to have courage. You got to have enough courage to be able to go against what everybody else is doing. Sometimes you're led into situations where people may try to get you to do something, but you have to have courage to say no. Like there's 2 things people will do. They'll help you spend your money and they'll help you eat. As soon as you go on a diet, doctor, somebody bringing in some donuts. As soon as as soon as you say to yourself, man, I'm gonna start this program, then somebody come in with some donuts or something. So in order to fight the devil, you got to have courage. Your own voice. Your own voice, you got to be accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable. See, so accountability goes along with hearing your own voice. Like me, I just told you about these voices. Sometimes I'm driving. No, I don't need nothing to eat, but my voice is telling me, pull over, give me something to eat. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But when I hold myself accountable, it makes me better and it makes me get a God.
Hey man, we out of time, but I the voice of others, the voice of the devil in your own voice. And we have to be strong enough.
The voice of others in your own voice. Yes.
Yes. So, wow, man, that's powerful. Hey, Dwill, I want to thank you for taking time to come on the show today. Man, we're going to talk again and get you back on. And I want to talk to you potentially about starting your own podcast or TV show. I mean, we just launched our network on E360, It's Your Life.
You said 360, what about it?
I just launched my own network on E360, the It's Your Life media network. Myself, I'm the president. But we can talk about a little bit about that one. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I would love to have you on now. But thank you so much. I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Dr. Michelle Cooley, for putting together another great show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my viewers and listeners for taking time to tune in to the James Cooley Show. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's Your Life with you.